A new investigation finds new concerns about San Diego Hospice, this time centering on patient care. Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. That story and another delay connected to the San Onofre nuclear plant tonight on KPBS Evening Edition.
And I'm Peggy Pico. Coming up, my conversation with three of the top candidates vying for Tony Young's empty city council seat in District 4. What they have to say about jobs, parks, and accusations during the campaign.
And it's a busy week for the San Diego State Aztecs. March Madness is only the beginning. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. More discoveries tonight about San Diego Hospice. Patient eligibility and money aren't its only problems. The KPBS and iNews Investigations Desk has learned patient care has also been a problem, and poor care almost cost the business its Medicare contract last year. Investigations producer Joanne Farian broke the story. She joins us from the News Center. Joanne, this is one of the oldest and most respected hospice organizations in the country. What did you learn about patient care?
Well, we obtained Medicare inspection reports from 2011 and 2012 of San Diego Hospice. They show several violations. Patients were given the wrong doses of medication. Nearly 800 patients were sent home with poorly labeled syringes that could have put them at risk of an overdose. And one man had bed sores and was lying in his own blood.
And how else did the medication errors impact patients?
The errors centered around a medication pump that wasn't being programmed correctly. 3 patients got too much morphine. 1 died within 24 hours of receiving the overdose. Another patient didn't get enough pain medication. The problems were bad enough that in January of 2012, Medicare actually sent San Diego Hospice a letter telling them they were going to terminate their contract, effectively putting them out of business.
So how did the hospice hang on to its contract?
Well, they did address the concerns about the medication errors. But, Dwayne, about a month later, in March of last year, Medicare investigators discovered another major problem. Nearly 800 patients were given emergency medical kits with poorly labeled syringes. In fact, one caregiver used one of the syringes and accidentally gave a patient 20 times the prescribed dose of morphine. That patient died an hour later.
You've gathered quite a bit of information. What does San Diego Hospice say about all this?
I spoke with the chief clinical director, Sharon O'Mary, yesterday. One of the violations I asked her specifically about was the man who was found lying in his own blood. He had an open wound, bruises, and pressure sores. I asked her, how could this have happened?
That was fully investigated, and we dealt with the specific individuals in that situation. And there are processes in place that would prevent that from happening. So that situation in particular was investigated very closely.
How did you deal with those individuals?
They were terminated from employment.
Now, Joanne, San Diego Hospice has filed for bankruptcy. Are they still caring for patients?
It's our understanding they will be discharging the remaining patients this week. And you can see more of our reporting on hospice at kpbs.org/end-of-life.
KPBS investigations producer Joanne Farian. Mayor Bob Filner has issued an emergency order closing the children's pool in La Jolla at night. The order was prompted by video of people harassing the animals at night. The video comes from a 24-hour web camera at the pool. The area will be closed between sunset and sunrise from now until May 15th through pupping season. The children's pool has been the site of a long-running battle between animal advocates and people supporting beach access. There will be a delay in the decision on restarting the San Onofre nuclear plant. Federal regulators were expected to decide by late April, but they say they need more time to review technical data from the plant's operator. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission website now indicates a delay until May or June. San Diego Mayor Filner has a plan for medical marijuana dispensaries. He wants to allow them in commercial and industrial areas with a few stipulations. The shops have to be at least 600 feet from schools, parks, and playgrounds. They also have to be at least 600 feet away from each other. A dispensary would have to pay $5,000 a year for a permit and a 2% tax on sales. Filner's plan won't allow vending machines like these to dole out marijuana at dispensaries. City Council is expected to consider several options for the shops next month. There's now a bipartisan effort to get a Medal of Honor for fallen Camp Pendleton Marine. Congressman Duncan Hunter and Senator Dianne Feinstein are co-sponsoring legislation recommending the award. Peralta was killed during a battle in Iraq and was awarded the Navy Cross. A wave of bombings today killed dozens of people in Iraq one day before the 10th anniversary of the war. Officials say the attacks seem to have been coordinated. They targeted government security forces and Shiite areas. 7 Marines were killed in a training accident in Nevada. A mortar shell exploded during an exercise at an Army base there last night. The Marines were all from Camp Lejeune. Investigators are trying to figure out why the mortar exploded in its firing tube until they actually find out the Corps is halting the use of the weapons. Republicans are proposing some bills to undo parts of Governor Brown's prison plan. Since 2011, some inmates have been sent to county jails to reduce overcrowding and save money. The proposal would send some inmates back to state prison and improve supervision of parolees, and penalties would be increased for tampering with GPS tracking devices. No comment from the governor. A state prison spokesman says the changes would increase problems. Voters will head to the polls next week in a special San Diego City Council election to fill District 4's empty council seat. Peggy Pico talks to some of the top candidates.
San Diego City Council District 4 candidate Myrtle Cole is a senior care advocate and was former Councilman Tony Young's campaign manager and later his office manager. Myrtle, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to jump right into this. I want to ask you, what will your top priority be if you're elected?
3 top priorities. Number 1, public safety. Being a former police officer, public safety has to be the top priority. Number 2, infrastructure. A lot of people talk about their potholes and broken sidewalks, and we have to address infrastructure. Number 3, most important, is jobs, bringing good quality jobs into the neighborhoods and into the community, like grocery stores and restaurants and home improvement places. We need good paying jobs as well as quality apparel, retail, and businesses in our community.
Let's talk about that. There's been some long-standing complaints that there's been a lack of fresh produce and good grocery stores, parks in the neighborhood. Specifically, how are you going to address those issues?
I want to work with the Diamond BID, community leaders, faith leaders, as well as labor, contractors, bringing everyone to the table to discuss how do we move along, what do we want. We need grocery stores. We have one Food for Less with inferior produce. We have one Ralph's with great produce, and we're going to come to the table and work on bringing all these jobs and all these industries and businesses into the district.
Speaking of jobs and produce, do you support the new plan to bring Walmart to the district?
I want big box in. I want a Vons, I want an Albertsons, I want a Ralph's in our district. I will also support Target, but I want jobs that pay good paying jobs as well as health benefits.
So Walmart is in that group or no?
Until Walmart pays good quality jobs and good jobs and health benefits, then I cannot support a Walmart unless they do pay good wages.
Okay, and you moved to from a neighborhood in the District 4, from the old District 4. You've gotten some criticism because of that move. How do you address that criticism?
I'm in a good group. Todd Gloria had to move from his area into Council District 3 in 20 days. Marty Emerald had to move from Council District 7 to Council District 9 in order to run. Our mayor, Bob Filner, moved from Chula Vista to San Diego to run for mayor of our city. And Lori Zapp is living in District 2 while representing District 6. So I'm in good company. I've been in this district since 1977 and working in this district since 1977. So that's not an issue for me.
All right, we are out of time. Myrtle Cole, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Pope Francis was officially installed today as leader of the Roman Catholic Church. More than 150,000 people attended the Mass, including world leaders. In his homily, Francis urged them to protect the poor, the weak, and the environment. A proposal to tax bank deposits in Cyprus has been rejected. The government is trying to qualify for an international bailout to protect its banks and keep the country from going bankrupt. The idea had rattled markets yesterday, but today, Wall Street bounced back. Here's a look at the numbers. The Supreme Court will take a rare step next week when it hears arguments in two same-sex marriage cases. The court will post audio files and transcripts of the arguments about 2 hours after the end of proceedings. Now, next Tuesday, the court will hear the case over California's Proposition 8, banning same-sex marriage. And then on Wednesday, it will be the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. When Congress debates gun control next month, lawmakers will not talk about an assault weapons ban. Senator Dianne Feinstein says her ban will not be included in a gun bill. The reason? Majority Leader Harry Reid says the ban might block passage of any gun legislation. Feinstein says she will offer her ban as an amendment, but Democratic leaders say it doesn't have much chance of passing. Peggy Pico continues our coverage with the District 4 candidates who've raised the most financial support for next Tuesday's special election.
Here with me now is Brian, known by many as Barry Pollard. He's a businessman running to represent District 4 on the San Diego City Council. Barry, welcome.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
I'm going to jump right in with this. What is your top priority if you're elected?
My top priorities are going to include economic development, certainly redevelopment. Even though it's gone away, we need things built in our community. We need to build more fire stations and libraries and those kind of things. And then, of course, jobs. Jobs of all types, but primarily good paying jobs.
You are a businessman, but you've run into some problems,
Right.
I understand, with licensing, and you were fined for some accounting errors back in 2010. What do you want to tell your constituents about that and how it was handled and why they can trust you now with the city's finances?
Sure. Well, and all of those have been handled. I'm not the only one that has suffered the wrath of a business license being lapsed. It was lapsed only for about 4 or 5 months, I believe. And the Ethics Commission issue has been resolved, and we've got a much better staff now, a real live campaign, and treasurers. And we've learned a lot from all of this, and so I think that's behind us.
Alrighty. There's been a lot of long-standing complaints in District 4 area about the lack of fresh produce, the lack of parks, things like that. What do you plan to do about that?
Well, primarily getting residents involved. And then looking at areas within the city that can put us on a higher priority list. I plan on getting on the infrastructure committee downtown and getting District 4 a seat at the table. I also plan to work very closely with the budget process to make sure that city services and resources that are given all over the city, that we are giving that same amount of priority.
Specifically, you were talking about jobs earlier, and I know there's been some debate in the district. Do you support bringing Walmart to the district?
You know, I support any large or small grocery store to provide some fresh foods, affordable prices. As it stands right now, Walmart appears to be the only store that's on the radar screen. It's not exclusive. If there are other companies, stores that would like to come in, I would be more than happy to invite them into the community. You know, there's a concept also of big stores, but I think I would really like to see some smaller stores like Fresh and Easy or some other health-oriented store that's more of a neighborhood kind of a store. Because the people in Skyline would have to drive steel all the way down to Market to get food, or to 47th Street. So I would like to see perhaps some smaller little neighborhood stores that are closer for our seniors and for people to walk to.
So yes or no, you do support it if it's inclusive?
Absolutely.
Or not? All righty. We are out of time. So Barry Pollard, thank you so much for talking with us.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm Gwen Eichel on the next News Hour, the first in a series of stories about the impact of high-speed broadband access on our daily lives. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
The Food and Drug Administration is going back to the drawing board tonight, literally, to redesign cigarette warning labels. The agency wanted to make tobacco companies put large graphic labels on their packages, warning of the dangers of smoking. The images included diseased lungs, even a sewn-up body of a smoker. Tobacco companies sued, and the government is abandoning the fight. Tony Young's District 4 seat became vacant when he resigned and took a position in the private sector in January. Peggy Pico continues our coverage with the top 3 candidates for his vacant seat.
Also on the ballot for San Diego City Council seat in District 4 is Dwayne Crenshaw. He's a community nonprofit director and educator. Dwayne, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
What is going to be your top priority if you're elected?
I have 3 priorities in this campaign I've been talking about: jobs, education, and safety. And one of the things I think distinguishes me from the other candidates in this race is I actually have a real record of results over the last decade on each of those issues, creating 2,500 jobs with Market Creek Plaza, creating jobs for young people with higher youth funding, former school teacher and who worked with high school dropout youth and gang-affiliated kids in recent years. And then on safety, as the leader of the Coalition Neighborhood Councils, bringing police and community groups together to improve neighborhood safety, and also working on funding for sidewalks and streetlights to improve the safety there as well.
We need to talk about that. I understand you were fired from a coalition of neighborhood councils and you had a temporary restraining order against you. What do you want to tell voters about what happened then and how you want to regain their trust if elected? I
think I have the trust of the community. I think that's a false question, and the premise of that is wrong. I had an excellent record at the Coalition Neighborhood Councils. I'm running to my record. When I started the Coalition Neighborhood Councils, we had one part-time employee, a $50,000 a year budget, and we grew to over 5 years under my leadership to an organization of 24 employees with a $1.8 million budget. We reopened the closed-down city, Tubman Chavez Multicultural Center, for community events. My reputation is strong. My record of results is strong. And the temporary restraining order, anyone can get a restraining order. The judge immediately threw that out because it was baseless and ungrounded, and it's just an old story and old rumors, and we should let it die.
Okay, good to clarify that. There's been longstanding complaints about the lack of fresh produce and stores and parks in District 4. What do you plan to do about that?
I have a specific proposal on that. I actually, again, have the only record of bringing a grocery store to the district, Food for Less, the first grocery store in the neighborhood in 25 years at Market Creek Plaza. It's going to take some time and effort to build new grocery stores, so in the short term, I want to bring in, working with nonprofits and other sources, a warehouse where we have fresh fruits and produce, cold storage, and deliver those to the neighborhood stores, corner stores. So as opposed to being known as the liquor store or a problem, it's an asset to the community where there's fresh fruits and produce. They improve their image, they improve their business, and the neighborhood gets the fresh fruits and produce that they need. We don't have a Trader Joe's or a Boney's or a Sprouts. That will be done with neighborhood stores, and I want to lead that way.
I'm asking each of the candidates this, specifically, do you support Walmart coming into the district, big box Walmart?
I support new development in the community of a great needed resources. If that includes Walmart, Walgreens is being proposed, other stores, yes, but with all new development in the community, I will push for a community benefits agreement that guarantees the quality of jobs, that guarantees neighborhood hiring, that guarantees good benefits, that is designed and built in a way that enhances the neighborhood and the design and the plans the community asks for.
All right, we are out of time. Dwayne Crenshaw, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
There are 6 more candidates vying for the District 4 City Council seat. They are Blanca Lopez Brown, Monica Montgomery, Sandy Spackman, Ray Smith, Tony Villafranca, and Bruce Williams. We have more about the race and the candidates online at kpbs.org/D4. Lots of activity this week for college sports fans. San Diego State football holds its annual Red and Black game Saturday. The women's basketball team plays Santa Barbara tomorrow in the National Invitational Tournament. And the men's basketball team is headed to Philadelphia to compete in the NCAA tournament.
Last year, it was insane. There was like a big line all the way back there, and people were camping for days to just get the tickets. It was it was unbelievable.
The spirit for the basketball team is like one of the strongest because we're so involved at the game. So yeah, I feel like the spirit is the same.
Friday is the start of college basketball's March Madness, and the San Diego State Aztecs are making their 4th straight tournament appearance under Coach Steve Fisher.
So our fans now have grown accustomed to being in the tournament. We've won one time. So our goal is to go and win.
Aztecs are one of 68 teams competing in the 2-week tournament, and Coach Fisher is facing
a longtime friend and colleague in the first round, Oklahoma coach Lon Kruger.
So it's more than just a coaching friendship, it's a friendship. So you'd rather not play a friend, to be honest with you, and yet we're both thrilled to be in the tournament. And if we win, he genuinely will hope we make it to the Final Four, and vice versa.
San Diego State struggled to score points in the Mountain West Conference tournament recently in Las Vegas, and their next game is being played in Philadelphia.
We probably won't have a lot of San Diego State fans at Philadelphia. I'm sure at this stage, a very expensive ticket.
But if the team can get past the first few rounds and make it to the Sweet 16, the game will be played in Los Angeles.
Obviously, we're going to have to play a little better at both ends of the floor, but we've got to score the ball a little bit better. We've got to get the ball in the bat.
The game against Oklahoma is scheduled for about 6:20 local time Friday night. It will be broadcast on cable television as well as radio. As part of Women's History Month, Peggy Pico finds out how California women are doing when it comes to their financial health.
Today, a report by the California Budget Project and the Women's Foundation of California found women have not shared equally in California's ongoing economic recovery. Here with a snapshot on women's financial health are my guests, Candace Barr and Janita Wall, both founders of WIFE, or the Women's Institute for Financial Education in San Diego. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Janita, overall, are women more financially empowered now than they were, let's say, a decade or two ago?
They certainly are. Back when we started wife.org, which was 25 years ago, women were working in the workplace more and more, not like they are today, but they were bringing home the bacon, but not knowing how to fry it up in the pan. So that's where we started, was to educate women on the finances so that they could meet their important goals.
And Candace, this California Budget Project report found that over the last 2 years, men had stronger gains in employment and recovering from this recession than women. What is that about, do you think?
Well, that's true with regard to the short period of time that they took a look at. But if you look at a broader statistic, in fact, 78% of the jobs lost were lost by men. So their downturn went down further than women, and so their bounce is actually a little bit higher.
Is that sort of the case? The report also found that women's median annual earnings had dropped about $2,000 since 2006. So this was before the recession, yes, from about $33,000 down to about $31,000. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, except that it's actually dropped. Is that a trend you're seeing?
Well, it was a trend, again, with regard to what happened pretty much to everybody during this downturn. Women have had more difficulty, in fact, getting back to where they were, but we're beginning to see things improving, at least in the San Diego area.
Okay, and Janita, what are some of the ways that you have found that women were affected specifically by this 2008 recession?
Well, one way that women were affected by the 2008 recession is by going back to work when they could. When their husbands in construction or manufacturing lost their jobs, women started back into the workforce. And actually, at the beginning of the recession, women's median income was going up a little bit because they were perhaps working full-time rather than part-time. But many women, about half of them, are actually single moms. And what they've done is very often they've moved in with other people. They've gone in with friends and started living in more group care types of places.
I want to get to something that's specific with your organization, WIFE. You hold a workshop, a one-day workshop at Maricosta College to educate divorced women about their finances. Janita, tell us a little bit about, hit some of the highlights of that program that you teach there.
Second Saturday, what women need to know about divorce is actually most of the people attending, at least half of them, are just thinking of divorce, and the rest are someplace in the process. So that's a good time to get education, is when you're just thinking about divorce. We teach them about the financial aspects of divorce, the legal aspects, the emotional aspects, and frankly, many of those women go home saying, I think I'll work on my marriage. This this looks like a whole nother set of problems rather than a solution.
Costly. And Candace, when it comes to it's this program, your WIFE program, it's how many people have gone through this, and you're actually branching out besides San Diego.
Yes. We've had over 8,000 women go through the program here on only a local basis. And we have now a men's program at Miracosta College, the San Alejo campus, as well as a parenting program for parents after divorce. We now also have the program in 40 other cities around the country.
People are obviously quite interested in this. Is this because of the finances, do you think, Candace?
It's because, unfortunately, divorce is a fact of life for 50% of the people, and it can be a very, very difficult financial transition. A lot of people think divorce is about the legal. Frankly, it's about the psychological and financial, more so, and the legal is just the way to untie the knot. So helping people understand what the issues are and helping them through it really will help them ultimately to lead a more constructive and helpful life after divorce.
Alrighty, we are out of time. I want to thank you, Candace Barr and Janita Wall, for talking with us, and I want to let folks at home know that they can find out more about WIFE and about women's finances on our website at kppbs.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Weather Service says we should see some clearer sky by the end of the week. By Friday, the clouds will clear along the coast. Inland temperatures will heat back up into about 70 degrees or so. Still cool in the mountains, especially at night. Desert temperatures will be mostly in the 80s. You'll find more news and the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.